looked at a live, laugh, love sign and thought, damn, I would love to out of that. Have I got the spicy romance books for you? Hi, my name is Victoria, and I had never considered screwing a pumpkin spice latte until now. Welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about two wonderful pumpkin spice flavored books to get us in the mood for the season. We are talking about Seduced by the Pumpkin Spice Latte and Pumpkin Pounder. This is, I hate to say it, merely the tip of the pumpkin spice flavored iceberg that I could find on Amazon. There are so many more that I just did not have the time or the willpower to cover. This one actually I would have read if it had come out on time. It's coming out in first week of September. Looks actually pretty cute. This one is a hate crime though. Fat women everywhere deserve the opposite of what this is. So without further ado, grab your preferred fall beverage and let's get into it. I am under no illusions that this book is to be taken seriously or that the author wants it to be taken seriously. This is like a Chuck Tingle vibe written all over it. That said, Chuck Tingle himself has set a very high bar for this kind of thing, and just because you're writing PSL smut, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be using every tool in your writer's toolbox to craft an engaging narrative. So I will not be going easy on this one, even if it is totally ridiculous. I have a very high standard for fine literature that this is not exempt from because I have poor taste. And this is why I have such a big problem with the opening. Melissa opened her eyes slowly, not really sure why she was awake. She'd woken up unassisted at, she looked at her phone on the bedside table, 6:23 a.m. with no alarm, no noise, no nothing. She rolled over, slightly grumpy that she wouldn't get to sleep until her usual 7:30. But then she realized what day it was. It was the first day that pumpkin spice lattes were available at Starbucks. Her body must have known that it was the most wonderful day of the year and woken her up early. She could almost feel the cravings work their way through her whole body, from her mouth down through the rest of her. Opening with the she woke up in the morning thing is a rookie writer move. We expect better than that, Miss Cloves. We want better than that. The author establishes that Melissa, our protagonist, is the most basic of bitches, which is fine. She's essentially the girl who you'd see on Bumble BFF who would have brunch and movies on her bio and absolutely nothing else. Not the best main character for a book, but hey, we like an every girl that we can put ourselves into, like a self-insert sort of situation. Because who doesn't want to fuck a pumpkin spice latte? Am I right? Melissa immediately that morning goes to Starbucks. She puts on her white girl uniform, her yoga pants, her Uggs. She's there. This book was written in 2015, so like you can Christian girl fall full swing. When she gets there, she sees this cute goth barista, and the goth barista knows what's up. She keeps winking at Melissa, being like, "The pumpkin spice latte is our sexiest beverage, wouldn't you say?" And Melissa's like, "Thanks, I'm not really dating right now." And the barista's like, "You're cute, but that's okay. I just wanted to talk about how sexy the pumpkin spice latte is. Wouldn't you agree?" And I'm sure she winks better than that, but as Melissa drinks her latte, she realized that the feeling that she has for pumpkin spice is in fact sexual. She finds an upstairs corner of the Starbucks where no one is, and proceeds to sit down so she can enjoy her moment with her PSL privately. Personally, I would have just taken it home if I was feeling that aroused by it, but she can't possibly wait, of course. She sips it sensually at first, and then she starts rubbing the cup up and down her body until eventually she's just straight up jerking off in the Starbucks, just publicly in the Starbucks. Like, at least go to the bathroom. Like, I understand the appeal of like public spaces. It just doesn't seem that sanitary. At least not the Starbucks that I go to. Maybe you go to classier joints than me. She drinks the last sip of her PSL as she climaxes, of course, and then turns around and realizes that people are watching her, specifically the goth barista and some guy who, like, waved at her as she was going upstairs. We have not established that this is a chill guy, it's just some guy. Fortunately for Melissa, they are not going to call the cops. They are both super into it. The guy is actually the goth girl's boyfriend, and they tell her that it's okay to be pumpkin spice sexual, that they knew her the moment she walked in. They spotted her as one of their own, and they accept her for who she is. The pretty goth girl walked over to Melissa, set one of her PSLs down on the little table next to the purple chair, and stroked Melissa's hair gently. "Don't worry," she said. "We understand." The guy loped over as well and stood on Melissa's other side. "We knew you were something special when you walked in earlier." He stroked her cheek with the warm outside of the pumpkin spice latte in his hand. You're not going to kick me out for having sex with a pumpkin spice latte in your Starbucks?" Melissa had never been so relieved. The goth girl smiled. We never get names for these people, by the way. It's just always the goth girl and the guy. Sometimes it's the guy with the afro, but it's just some dudes. They all start making out, of course. They're rubbing like warm pumpkin spice cups up and down her body, both of them. The goth girl spills some pumpkin spice latte on Melissa's yoga pants, and she cries out in ecstasy. And I just want you to imagine it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You need some sort of sugary beverage to get you started for the day. You go to your coffee shop, you order a coffee, you just want to like sit down for a second and like go through some emails or like process your to-do list or just like sit quietly and read. You just like want a minute. And you go upstairs to the cafe or like outside on the balcony, just like have a little private space. And you see this going on. Just people, 3 people just making out and rubbing coffee cups all over themselves. I would just throw my coffee in the trash and just go straight back to bed. Like, the day is done. There's no redeeming that day. Just give up. Just give up and start over. Just quit on that one. Just call it. Anyway, Melissa has a great time, and when it's over, the goth girl offers to go down and make them a bunch more PSLs so they can go for another round. Apparently, the secret to unending stamina in bed is just constantly drinking pumpkin spice lattes while you're doing it, so you just never have a moment where you're not fully caffeinated. I wonder how many pumpkin spice lattes you'd have to drink for it to just straight up kill you with a caffeine overdose. So yeah, that is the book. I would give this like a 3.5. It loses points for adding a random stranger. Like, it could have just been her and the goth girl. I don't know what the guy added there. It could have been gayer. That would have been fun. The sex scene was as good as the author could possibly have made it, considering there's only so many ways to fuck a pumpkin spice latte. Maybe I'm just not that creative, but I felt like the author really did her best trying to make it sensual. It was actually like it was fairly hot if you're into that sort of thing. Am I slowly becoming pumpkin spice sexual? If I succumb to this book, if I discovered a new kink, before we can really consider that possibility for myself, let's jump immediately into Pumpkin Pounder. It's a cute New York City romance set on Halloween night. Pumpkin Pounder, it is explained to us over the course of this book, is an Urban Dictionary term for someone who really likes redheads. Well, this is awkward. My partner is also a redhead. He's the natural redhead, unlike me. So does that make me a pumpkin pounder? I'm just curious if you have to like be exclusively into redheads, or if like doing it with one redhead makes you a pumpkin pound. I'm not really entirely clear, and I hope this is never clarified, ever. I don't think I could handle being both a pumpkin pounder and being pumpkin spice latte sexual. That would be too much for me. Oh, okay. get into the book. We're in this together. You can turn this video off at any time, but I'm stuck here, knowing these things that I can't unknow. We open with Daisy, our protagonist. She is with her friend Rachel, and they're going to a Halloween party on Halloween night in New York City. They both seem terrible. They are yelling in the street. They walk past a couple of women making out in just on the street, and they high five each other. There's a lot of fist pumping and lip smacking happening, and this is only the first 2 pages, and I hate them both so much. They seem incredibly loud and obnoxious. They are both looking to hook up for Halloween, and Daisy explains to us, the readers, that she is more into redheads than any person should be, I think. If there's one thing all my friends know about me, it's that I love redheaded men. Yes, redheads. Carrot top, copper kettle, fire muff, big red, ginger ninja, whatever you call it, I'm into it. Any shade from strawberry to bright sunset to hot rod red, I love them all. I love the way their freckles stand out. I love the way their necks get red when they get hot, sunburnt, or turned on. I love the way I can spot one in a room and know they're going to be mine. There's a name for what I am, and I like it. I'm not going to add it to my LinkedIn profile, but I still wear it proudly. Pumpkin pounder. Oh, God. Sorry. People who prefer to have sex with redheads. My other favorite definition, courtesy of Urban Dictionary. Women who seek out redheaded men in bars with the intention of having intercourse. I know in some places gingers is a derogatory term, but to me it's the highest compliment I could give. I'm predatory about gingers, but in a caring way. I wonder who the lucky gingerbread man will be tonight, says Rachel. I understand being attracted to redheads. But this is so fetishizing, it's starting to make me feel like fire muff is some sort of slur. I feel dirty for having said all of those words. I just feel like fetishes cross a line when you stop seeing people with your desired trait, whether it's being a redhead or having an outie belly button or whatever your thing is. Whenever you stop seeing people with that trait as people and just start seeing them as sexual objects, she just wants to sleep with a redhead, any redhead, all the redheads. She doesn't care about anything else, it seems, which just seems bad on both ends. Unsafe for her, predatory for them. Truthfully, I'm beginning to get tired of the self-elected responsibility of sampling every redheaded guy in town. Pumpkin pounding isn't just a sexual identity. It's become my vocation, a calling, an outlet for my true self. Girl, go to therapy. Anyway, the girls get to the party and Daisy bumps into a redhead with an Irish accent. The poor sod. The way the accent is written is kind of cringe, and it doesn't really seem like the author actually knows much about Ireland or its accents or how people with an Irish accent actually talk. I'm thinking she's just betting on her readership also not really knowing many of those details, which, maybe I'm being petty about it, having actually spoken to Irish people before. They have a really boring conversation about New York and he's there for business and whatever, right? Eventually they go find somewhere cozy. He covers my hands with his and nods, sweet in the way he offers his trust. His scruff brushes my cheek and I'm so tempted to kiss him right here on the deck, but it's not time yet. Phase 2 is when I move the target to a second location. Phase 3 is when I pounce. My dude, you have to chill. She has a whole I am the predator, they are the prey thing, which she thinks is empowering, and the more that she talks about it, the more actually scared and grossed out that I feel. She is legitimately creepy. Women who are sexually empowered and are like, I'm gonna go out and find someone that I'm gonna fuck and I'm gonna have a great time and I'm gonna pursue that person, that's fine. This woman takes it to another level, and also with the level of fetishization that she has just makes me feel like she is this close to doing things that the other person didn't consent to. It's just they start making out, and there's a little bit of hesitation on her part that she can't quite figure out at first. She slowly begins to realize that she actually likes this man, and like sees him as a human being, and it's really weird for her, um, seeing him as like a human being with like interests and like a life, rather than just a hunk of meat. Um, which like yay for personal growth, I guess. It seems to be the fact that he keeps calling her love that's freaking her out, which makes sense if you've been so avoidant that the thought of emotional intimacy makes you feel like you're going to break out in hives. But I feel like it shouldn't be that triggering. I don't know, just like casual sex is fine, but like to have a lot of casual sex regularly and to never once like have a human connection with another person, that's weird, right? Like you can not have feelings for someone, but you can also like enjoy hanging out with them and like enjoy the like one time that you like had a one night stand and like what like I don't understand how she really does not see these men as people. They're like purely conquests, and that's it seems like a really unhealthy dynamic that she has going on. They get interrupted making out and they decide to go to dinner. Daisy is very uncomfortable with the idea of going on a date, but she does it anyway. And eventually, the book like skips over the actual cute getting to know you part, which I guess I'm grateful for because all of their conversation so far has been incredibly dull and just basic small talk. So I guess it's nice that we're not subjected to more of that because it just seems like the author doesn't know how to write. So the book kind of fast forwards and then we just get to the sex scene, which is standard vanilla, nothing out of the ordinary here. We then fast forward a little bit in time. It's been like a week and the guy never called her back even though she gave him her number. Which like sucks, but you know, it happens. Daisy is talking with her annoying, fist pumping, very loud best friend who says, yeah, it's not your fault, these things happen. Her friend insists that she's never done any behavior that would make her feel like Daisy has like an unhealthy relationship with sex, which I would have to disagree with. Daisy eventually agrees that it's good that she like has a soul and can have feelings for other humans, and they kind of leave it at that. Fast forward to the next Halloween. She goes to the same bar with the same terrible group of friends, and who happens to be there? It's the guy. Apparently, he lost her phone number. I don't expect you to forgive me for disappearing like that, but I wanted the chance to apologize properly. He holds out a bouquet of flowers. I stare at the flowers. Rule 1, take my time. I take a few deep breaths, and then I tell him exactly what's on my mind. You kind of broke my heart when you didn't call. His white face falls. It broke mine too. My heart lurches. Does he really mean that? And you live in Dublin, I continue. He shakes his head vehemently. My company moved me to Williamsburg. I bite my lip and accept the flowers. He visibly relaxes. I owe you an apology too. I take a deep breath and do gut check. It feels right, so I continue. I never asked your name. His grin is so bright it makes my eyes swim. It's Jack. My name is Jack. Girl, you couldn't have had your heart broken. You hung out with this guy for 12 hours. You had absolutely no sort of like special connection whatsoever. You just like started seeing him as a human being. And I think you should go to therapy instead of dating anyone for a while, no matter how hot their accent might be. I'm not a professional, but that's just my opinion. It's wild to me that the author is trying to paint this like they have some sort of like magical spark and they're like magnetically drawn to each other when they just made small talk and had sex. The bar is just, it's so low for some of these couples and some of these books to find love. Like they're in love in under a week, and it's because of all of their own personal issues, and it has nothing to do with the other person because they don't have enough time to figure out who the other person is because it's been like 4 days. This has to be the fastest love switch though that I've ever seen pulled. It's basically instant. One of my problems with insta love is that we don't get to fall in love too. Like it's just already there, so we don't get to see the reasons why they fall in love or how they fall in love. It's just like these two people are already in love, let's get to the good stuff. But like the good stuff is like the journey to how you get there, right? Unless it's like, okay, they're in love and now they have a whole quest to go on, which these guys don't. It's just the author just didn't bother. I feel like the New York City Halloween party and like hot redhead thing had potential, and the author just made it weird. And Daisy was bad, but I feel like the atmosphere was good. I feel like probably one of the other pumpkin spice books does this better, and I just picked a bad one. All right, so that is my tiny dip into the giant ocean of pumpkin spice themed erotica. I hope you enjoyed going on this journey with me. If you did, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you back where we can do this all again next week. I hope that I haven't completely ruined fall beverages for you from now on, but I'm never going to look at a pumpkin spice latte the same.